Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that affects millions and millions of people, but most of them have no idea it's happening. Seriously, it's this silent process that could be at work in your body right this very second.
So let me ask you, does any of this sound familiar? You're always hungry, maybe even right after a meal. Or you get these intense cravings for sugar that just won't quit. And what about feeling tired? I mean, really tired, for no good reason. These aren't just you being you. They're clues. And they're pointing to something much, much bigger.
And just how big are we talking? Well, get this. An estimated 40% of adults in the US are dealing with a condition that's causing all this. 40%? That's almost half the adult population. We're not talking about some rare disease here. This is a massive, and I mean massive, hidden problem.
All right, so let's get into it. You know, we hear a lot about things like type 2 diabetes. It's a huge deal. But what most people don't get is that the story doesn't start there. Nope. For years, sometimes even decades before that diagnosis ever happens, there's a secret prequel playing out inside the body. And just look at the numbers. They are absolutely wild. Let's take the UK, for example. Back in 1996, there were about 1.4 million people with diabetes. Today, over 4 million, and it's still climbing. But here's the kicker. This explosion in diabetes, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's the smoke, not the fire. The real problem, the invisible issue, started a long, long time before.
Okay, so what is this hidden culprit? What's the thread connecting all these dots? The hunger, the fatigue, the skyrocketing diabetes rates? Well, it all comes down to one thing: insulin resistance, or, to use the term from one of our sources in Myanmar, insulin kukanmu. So what does that actually mean? Let's break it down real simple. Think of insulin as a key, and your body's cells, they have little locks. Insulin's job is to unlock those cells to let sugar, glucose, get inside for energy. But with insulin resistance, your cells start changing the locks. They get stubborn, they stop listening to the insulin, so the sugar can't get in, it just builds up in your blood, and meanwhile, your cells are literally starving. And that's why you're so tired and so hungry all the time. One of our sources puts it perfectly. They just call it the body's resistance to insulin. That's it. That's the core defect. The key, the insulin, is there. It's turning. But the lock is all rusty and gummed up. The door just won't open properly. The signal is getting lost. And see, this brings us right back to where we started. That constant hunger and those crazy sugar cravings, that's your starving cells screaming out for energy. That weight gain, especially around the belly, well, your body has to do something with all that extra sugar in the blood, so it stores it as fat. And the brain fog and exhaustion, your brain needs fuel. It's not getting it. It all traces back to this one single problem. Okay, but why? Why do the cells start ignoring insulin in the first place? To get to the bottom of that, we have to look way deeper than just blood sugar. We have to look at how everything in the body is connected. And I've got a perfect real-world example that shows you exactly what I mean. So let's talk about JD. JD is 47, and when she walked into a clinic, she had uncontrolled type 2 diabetes. I mean, she was on a bunch of different meds, but nothing was working. She was still exhausted, still gaining weight, and her blood sugar was all over the place. Her story it's a game changer for understanding the why behind all this. So instead of just looking at her blood sugar, they dug deeper. And what they found was fascinating. Yeah, of course, she had insulin resistance, but that wasn't the whole story. Her high-stress job was wrecking her adrenal glands, she was missing key nutrients, and her diet of processed foods was causing chronic inflammation. You see? It's all connected, like a big, tangled web. And check out what happened when they treated those root causes, not just the symptoms. They put together a plan for her, one that dealt with her stress, fixed her diet, and topped up her nutrients. Her HbA1c, which is basically your average blood sugar score, went from a scary 9.5% all the way down to a perfectly healthy 5.3%. And get this, it only took 4 months. 4. JD's story really shines a light on something huge, right? It shows us there's a fork in the road. There are two totally different ways of thinking about how we treat this stuff.
from insulin resistance all the way up to type 2 diabetes.
Okay, so on one path, we have the conventional approach. This way usually waits until things get pretty serious, like a diagnosis of prediabetes or even full-blown diabetes, and then the main tool is medication to manage the symptoms. But then there's the other path, the functional medicine approach. This is all about being proactive. It jumps in way earlier, at the first signs of trouble, and uses things like diet, lifestyle, and stress reduction to go after the root cause, to actually try and reverse the problem before it snowballs.
So you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. The proactive approach sounds way better, but what does that actually look like? Well, the great news is the sources give us a really clear roadmap for rebuilding your metabolic health from the inside out. It really boils down to 4 key areas. First up, food. And here's the thing, it's not just about how many carbs you eat, it's about the quality. Think whole foods. Second, movement. You don't have to become a marathon runner, even a daily 20-minute walk works wonders. Third, and this one is huge, is stress. That stress hormone, cortisol, it's like kryptonite for your insulin. You've got to manage it. And last but not least, sleep. 7-8 hours a night, it's not a luxury. It's absolutely essential for your metabolism. Now, on top of those lifestyle foundations, the research points to a few key supplements that can really help. There's berberine, which basically helps your cells listen to insulin better. Magnesium, wow, this mineral is a superstar, involved in hundreds of things that control blood sugar. And then you've got something called NAC, a powerful antioxidant that helps protect your cells from damage. Now, these aren't magic pills, but they can be incredibly helpful tools when they're part of the bigger picture.
So I want to leave you with this question. What if the first sign of a huge problem isn't the loud, blaring alarm of a disease? What if it's just a whisper that comes years and years before? Because that's what insulin resistance is. It's not the end of the story. It's an early warning. It's your body whispering, hey, let's change direction. And if you listen to that whisper, you get the power to rewrite your entire health story long before you ever get to the last page.